Alright, let's take a look at adding support for range weapons for flame weapon, dark fire, and greater magic weapon. We're going to start by opening up the scripts and take a look at what they already do. And dark fire. Perfect. Okay. We'll start with dark fire because why not? Okay, we got some setting of effects, 2 variables, and then some execution of those down at the bottom. And we only apply it to melee weapons, so let's fix this. So we could get whatever's not a ranged weapon. However, I believe darts are still considered ranged weapons while being in the main hand. So we'll need to probably write our own function for this. Okay. Get is ranged weapon. And we'll pass in an object. Okay. We're going to switch on the weapon type. So what's the function called? Get base item type. There we go. There we go. We're going to make a case for each item type. So we're going to say base item, longbow. Cool. Need one for short bow. Gonna need one for light crossbow. Need one for heavy crossbow. And finally one for sling. Make sure all these are correct. That's wrong. That's wrong. Okay. Let's adjust. Cool. Okay. And we need to get the base item type of the weapon. Okay. Actually, we don't even need to do this. We can just append them to each other. Oh, I know what that was. Okay, cool. Perfect. And then instead, we're going to have a default case for everything that's not these 5. And res will be false. Okay. So this will return true for any item that is one of those 5. Otherwise, it'll return false. Actually, this will just leave it like that. Okay. So what is this doing down here? So we're getting an object, which is the equipped melee weapon, or a targeted player, which would then get their main weapon. So instead, let's just start with target, and we'll get spell target. Nope, that's not what it's called. Get spell target object. Okay, yeah, because I don't believe you can cast Darkfire at a location without 2d8 changes, so leave it like that for now. So you have a target, and I'm going to verify that the weapon is valid. And if it's not, send a text string. But if it is, we'll signal the casting event for the AI to do what it's got to do. Okay. So clean this up a little bit. Make it a little bit easier to look at. Oh, this is still inside. Check it up again. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so we're just gonna change the whole way this is happening. We're not gonna. We're gonna rewrite this function and just give it a target. Oh, I've copied all that. Okay. Give target, which will be the PC in this case, a duration. So down here, what do we use for the duration? Turn to seconds in duration. In duration's up here, so that should be fine. And then we'll pass in a caster level, which is also in scope. Perfect. We will put the signal event here, so AI does whatever it's going to do. And then we'll put these up there later. Okay. So target is your player. We're going to take a look at whatever's in the player's right hand, which this needs to be higher. Or it needs a definition. Okay. We're going to say, okay, we're going to need an object O right hand equals get item in slot. What comes first? Slot. Okay, so we're going to say inventory slot right hand from the target. And that'll be our right hand weapon. If get is object valid O right hand, simply checking to make sure that there is something in the right hand. And get is ranged weapon. Is not a ranged weapon. We're going to continue on and do whatever else we're going to do. Well, no, because we do want it to work for a ranged weapon, but that'll come later. So, oh my goodness, these are not spaced properly. Or maybe they were, I don't know. Okay, so for anything that's not one of those 5 weapons, we're going to apply the on-hit cast spell, which I'll just take the ones that were already used. Don't. Well, I'll leave the comment in, but this is pointless. Okay. So we're going to apply this to right hand instead of the target. Cast spell with that caster level. Fire visual effect. Ugh. Come on. Perfect. So for everything that's in your right hand that is not one of those 5 weapons, we're going to apply the fire. However, if, well, instead of calling this twice, let's set it to a variable. Let's say if your right hand weapon is ranged. If it's not ranged, we do this. If it is, well, we also need to make sure it's valid. So let's also put this to a variable too. We're going to do something different for ranged weapons. So instead of applying to the ranged weapon itself, we're going to want to apply this to the ammunition of the ranged weapon. So let's make a inventory slot for those as well. Perfect. We're going to have one of these for ammo 1, 2, and 3. Perfect, they all exist. I'm going to put these down into this section so they're only used if we make it this far. So for any ranged weapons, we're going to, just for simplicity's sake, we'll just apply it to all 3 ammo types. Okay, so if get is object valid on We're going to do this for each type of ammo. Okay. Perfect. So if you have a valid weapon that's not a ranged weapon, specifically our kind of ranged weapon, we're ignoring throwing axes and darts because those will be considered melee weapons for the purpose of being able to have this property at all. Otherwise, if it's valid and it's a ranged weapon, we're going to apply to the ammo instead. And finally, else if it's not valid, why not try to apply it to the creature weapons, huh? So let's start with three types of things. So we'll do creature weapon, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Do creature weapon slot B, left, and right. And then we're going to do essentially the same thing. We're just going to check if they're valid, and if they are, apply the effect. Except we're going to apply them onto creature weapons and ammo. And just in case anything else is not caught, we'll print out this text from this. Okay. So this function should only work correctly if you cast it on an object, but a player object. So we'll also want one for the item as well, which will be a lot simpler. So spell target object. If get object type. So this is only for creatures. We're going to do this. We're also going to want to apply these effects. So let's copy this. So for melee weapons only, we're going to apply the burning visual effect to your weapon, which will be a right hand. Actually, this should be. This is the visual effect letting you know that the spell terminates properly. This is the right either. No, other way around. No, neither. Both of these go on the user. Right, because these are. That's a little firing that happens. Okay. And this is the one that terminates when the spell ends. Okay, yeah, the visual effects here. Got it. So we don't need any of this anymore. Okay, but now we need these visual effects. So I'm going to replace eviz with this, which will go right here, and the duration effect. Oh, they're linked. Okay, hang on. I'll undo that. You know what? Let's just move them up and call it a day. Nah, I don't like how that looks. Okay. Well, since this one's not linked, I will clear this one up. Perfect. Okay. So only when cast on an object type creature, we're going to do all that. Otherwise, if you cast at an item, looks like there's not a function for getting items that are weapons or not. So if it's an item and it's a melee weapon or it's a ranged weapon, that's not going to catch creature weapons, but typically you can't cast onto a creature item. So unless you get one in your inventory somehow. Um, so I'm going to ignore that case, and if you have a use case for it, you probably know how to modify it yourself. So it's true. Okay, so if it's an item and it's either range or melee, we'll jump into here and just apply the same thing we would normally. No, because if you use it on a no, because if you use it on a bow, it would try to put it on a bow, so it would have to be not ranged weapons. So it needs to be melee or ranged, which would include the throwing weapons, and I'll use our own get ranged weapons. And that should filter out the bows. Okay. And we'll do what we would normally do for a melee weapon. Apply a visual instead. We're going to apply it to the target, the possessor of the target. So Same here for the other visual effect. And we'll apply this directly to the target instead. Now I just need the visual effects back, which we moved over here. So we'll take this one back out and put it right here. And then we just need the other one that we removed variable for because it's only used in one place. Oh, it's already there. Cool. All right, this is compile. Get is ranged weapon is a duplicate function. That's cool. Okay, let's. It's only going to be used in one place. Let's use it. We'll just rename it to V2. Let's replace all of these. Oh, that was a mistake. Hmm. That was not smart. Let's try that again. Do I need the backup? Yeah, why not? It ought to be still. It ought to still be there because I just compiled it the first time, so we should still have everything. Just before I tried to do that. Yeah. Right, we still have all the. Yep, we're good. Okay, let's not do that again. Let's replace all of them where it ends with a parenthesis. That way it doesn't catch the V2 itself. Oh, Lord. Okay. Just make sure, though, because why not? Good. We got a variable that is being used. We have target. No, because we're using target. We have in duration, which we pass in a float for this. Why do we have an integer duration and a float duration? Because we're passing it in already converted to a float. Got it. Cool. Well, let's just pass in the integer version as well. That'll be the quickest thing to do at this point. Okay. Still using that, which is not right. We want to use it on the creature itself, which would be, target in this case. Okay. Oops, I should have actually read what that said. Variable defined with that type. So we have a wrong variable. F duration is wrong variable, which we'll just do this. Okay. We good? We're good. Okay. We're going to make a quick modification to the client enter script just for testing only. No one will need to do this on their own. I'll be creating an item on me. Some pre-made items I already have that have Darkfire on them and whatnot. Okay. Okay. Let's start with doing a dagger. I'm gonna cast Darkfire. Works just fine. Oh, that was stupid. Maybe I should have put him farther away. Okay, whatever. Flame weapon. Still works. Let's try the crossbow. Flame weapon. Must be a melee weapon. Let's try Darkfire. Probably forgot to put the visual effect. Well, no, that didn't work at all. Oh, because I clicked it on the item. Right. So if I click it on me, Darkfire is now on the bolts and applies properly. Okay, let's make a couple of adjustments. So if you were to cast on any of your friends right now with... let's double check that summons still work. Right, looks like creature weapons do not get the visual effects. That's my bad. So do you still get it on hit, though? No. Okay. Let's take a look. Okay. So let's first things first, let's apply the visual effects for anything, because this is just on the user to indicate that it was a successful casting, which we're going to also want a variable for. So have a success. So if we have at least something valid, we're going to have true. Same for these. Oops. Okay. And then we'll just apply this at the end. If successful. Just a second. Okay. So that'll apply the visual effect regardless. I haven't made any logic changes to the actual application of the effects. Let's check if they even have a weapon, period, in their creature slots. So let's actually, I could skip a valid primary in case they do have a primary that is just over the claw weapons anyway. Who wouldn't want that to happen? Mouse without mouse if. Hmm. Not successful do that. Where did the successful code go? Oh, it's up here. That needs to be further down, past the creature section. Okay. Let's double check this real quick. I forgot I also have summons here, so. Let's try Darkfire on him again. See if he actually gets the damage. Still no. Okay. Let's check that it works. This should still work just fine. Okay. Let's try another range weapon. Perfect. Still not working on a creature weapon. I wonder if the Dire Badger even has a creature weapon. Let's try a different creature. Maybe I should have picked a summon that didn't have so many spells. Good lord. Are you done? Okay, this is taking too long. Okay, that one works. So maybe the Dire Badger just doesn't have a creature weapon. Or can I even check that? I might be able to just check that. Those look like creature weapons. Right, because if they didn't, they wouldn't have anything but one row. Is it only applying to one of them properly? It's applying to one of them at least. Oh, that's a new one. Why are the attacks changing? It's swapping weapons for some reason. Hang on a second. It might be working this whole time, and there might be something else at play. Okay. It may have just unequipped the weapon. Okay, this is new to me. I've never seen that before. So that appears to work then. Works on range weapons, assuming you use it on yourself and not the weapon itself. Though I could add logic to make it work when you're casting on the weapon in your inventory. However, I'd want to only check if it's equipped. And that's a whole bit for nothing, really, because the majority of it you can just cast on yourself. Because if you cast it on one that's not equipped, it's going to go to the bullet anyway. Which, actually, now that I think about it, can you cast it on the bullet itself? Let me restart. No. Okay. So, knowing that, I could make it do that, however. So let's see. So if it's an item, melee or range weapon, and not one of those specific range weapons, I could add a case for ammo. There was a function for this. No, it wasn't ammo. Projectile. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Let's give this one more try. Shouldn't even need to be equipped. There we go. Good stuff. Now that we've got Darkfire done, we can make changes to the other one. Flame weapon. Which will do largely the same thing. We'll pass in a duration and a caster level. So this can probably take the entire function here. As a one-for-one replacement, with the exception of the spell being 124 instead of 127. So let's find all 127s and replace with 124. Again. Okay, we're good. So that should be flame weapon on all of these instead. With the same logic as Darkfire. This doesn't really need to be there. That's more specifically for the lines that use this function instead of the regular add item function. Probably going to want the range weapon V2 in both scripts, but yeah, to keep it standalone, I'm just gonna copy it straight into the other one. Ideally, you'd want to put it in the same include file that has all the other item property functions. I believe it's something item property. This one. You would rather put it in there, and it would just be included in both these without having multiple versions of the same thing. But to keep it simple and standalone, you can just grab this. I will put it into both. For those of you who just who know what to do with the include files, can do that themselves. Or maybe I'll make a video on that at some point. All right, as for the meat of the function, we're going to do the same thing as before. We're going to try and get it to be as similar to the other one as possible. After the extend, we're just going to say if it's a target object and a target item. Just make this look a little bit neater. Okay. None of this is required. Signal event, we're passing in the ID, but not a specific one, so we don't need this either. They're both turns to seconds, the duration, so no need to change here. Okay. As for the reference for the error message, are they the same? 83615 3615. Okay, so we don't care about this either. All this should be identical with the exception of this needing to be a 4. Because when we replaced the 127th 124s, we hadn't pasted this in quite yet. The visual effects, I believe, are the same. This one's not required. Same or not, they use the same variable, so that should be fine. Okay, let's test if this works. All right, let's see. Should work same for creatures as well. That was flame weapon this time. Flame weapon on me. Seems to work just fine. Flame weapon on the dagger. Seems to work just fine. That should cover it for those two. Actually, the length of this video is probably going on long enough that I will do a part 2 for Greater Magic Weapon and Keen. That's it for now.